All right, what's going on, everybody? Uh, yeah, it looks like I can't get that to play. Um, but apparently, Shane Carey, I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but apparently Shane Carey went live, or not live, but did an interview with Good Morning America, and um, and I wish I could play it. Unfortunately, I can't. Actually, maybe I could do it the ghetto way, because I do think you guys should hear it. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Um, Let me go ahead and knock that out. One way or the other, we're going to play this motherfucker, all right? All right, so hold on one second, guys. As soon as this ad ends up playing. Hey, what's up, Amber? What's up, Kel's Loving Life? Samara, Carla D.
Whose newborn daughter was stolen from her before she was murdered last month. The little girl has now been reunited with her dad, who spoke with Kaylee Hartung in Austin, Texas.
You're so beautiful. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
This morning, we're hearing from Heidi Broussard's fiance for the first time since he was reunited with their infant daughter, Margot.
I just wish her mom was here.
Shane Carey faced the unimaginable. On December 12th, his fiance Heidi Broussard disappeared just 2 weeks after giving birth. Also missing, their newborn. He pleaded for their return.
Drop her off anywhere. I don't care. Just make sure she's safe and okay. The baby's okay. Feed the baby. She's only 3 weeks old.
After a week combing through clues, authorities found the 33-year-old mother dead, strangled to death in the trunk of this car. In a shocking twist, the car belonged to one of Broussard's best friends, Megan Firamuska. The baby found inside her home, unharmed.
Heidi loved Megan. I mean, they had a great relationship. I went over in my head about 1,000 times. I should have been there. I should have noticed something.
Firamuska was present when Heidi gave birth to both of her children, and even took part in the search for the missing mom. Their decades-long friendship, undeniable.
She was a friend, you know? You would not suspect this at all. At all.
But police say Firamuska deceived them by allegedly faking her own pregnancy.
And how soon after you guys found out Heidi was pregnant, do you remember hearing that Megan was pregnant too?
I think it was pretty much at the same time. Megan said that she had the same date as Heidi.
You never questioned it?
I never questioned it at all.
The 33-year-old was arrested December 20th and charged with kidnapping and tampering with evidence. Police say Firamuska plotted to steal the baby and pass it off as her own. But one big question looms.
Why? Why?
The now 6-week-old baby a community once searched for relentlessly, finally back in the arms of her father.
Hey, sweetie.
Megan Firamuska is in jail here in Austin. She's due for her first court appearance next month. In the meantime, Shane tells us they're working to establish a foundation in Heidi's honor to support children and families who've suffered traumatic events. Guys.
Boy, such a traumatic event. So tragic.
All right, so let me see if volume is low.
Dawn, already making progress.
Real quick.
Riding your bike to the pool.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the buffering, guys. I got to use the OBS for now, but I'll be figuring things out pretty soon. I'll go ahead and turn the volume up a little bit here. Hopefully that's better. So there we go. All right, that's about the best I can do, guys. So I hope that's all right. Yeah, so you heard it. Unfortunately, I do not have the full interview yet, But as soon as I do have that, I'm going to make sure that I play that here. But what struck me as as interesting here was there's also an article that goes with it with some quotes from Shane Carey that I found extremely interesting. So yeah, Rosemarie, I totally agree with you. It's absolutely senseless, and I'm just as determined as anybody else to try to get the answers and understand why this happened, because I'm deep into this, and it's bugging the hell out of me. But and it's heartbreaking. You can hear, I mean, even now, even reunited with baby Margot, he's broken up and he's sad. He's torn up with the loss of his fiance, and rightfully so. And it completely breaks my heart to see him suffering like that, or to hear him suffering like that. But we've got to be grateful, and we've got to be grateful for the fact that he is now reunited with baby Margot, and Silas is reunited with his baby sister. We've, the best thing for us to do is focus on the silver lining here. But that's not going to deter us from wanting answers and wanting justice for this family. And so I'm going to go ahead and read the article out loud. And it says, the fiance of a Texas woman who was allegedly killed in a plot to steal their baby said he's still in disbelief that someone so close to them may have been involved. She deserves more. She deserves way more. Heidi Broussard's fiance Shane Carey told ABC News in an exclusive interview airing on Good Morning America Thursday. I'm waiting for the text message like, "Hey, sweetie, how we doing?" Just waiting to hear her voice. I still don't believe it. I just don't believe it. It's really not real. Broussard, 33, and the couple's infant daughter, Margot, had been missing for a week before the young woman was found strangled to death in the trunk of a car of her close friend, Megan Faramuska, on December 19th, according to officials. More shocking details alleged in Heidi Broussard's baby Margot kidnapping case. Faramuska was charged with kidnapping in connection with the case, and police believe she may have abducted Broussard in a plot to take baby Margot as her own child. Investigators in Faramuska had allegedly been acting like she was pregnant and telling people that she was expecting a child. Authorities are now trying to determine whether she was pregnant at all. Margot was found alive and was reunited with her family last month, but those closest to her are still searching for answers. I want to look at her straight in the eyes and ask her why, Carey said of Faramuska. That's all I want to say. There's no reasons for any of this. I believe somebody talked her into it. I mean, from knowing Megan, I would never imagine it. I don't know what happened. Heidi is way stronger than Megan. There has to be a second person. There is no way Megan was by herself, he added. So there's more regarding the details of the case that we already know based on the affidavit, Megan's arrest affidavit. And so what strikes me about this is Shane Carey is clearly convinced that a second person was involved in this crime. And that's enough for me to be convinced of it too, because we all know based on everything that's been going on, everything that we've read, everything that we've talked about, everything that we've heard, that according to the affidavit anyway, Megan entered the passenger side, and the car drove off out of the complex fairly quickly. So that right there is enough to pretty much indicate to us that there was a second person involved. So anything you're hearing about, there's no evidence yet that supports the fact that, or supports the theory that, yeah, I'm sorry about the buffering, guys. OBS sucks. What do you want me to do? But yeah, there's no evidence to support the theory necessarily yet that Megan worked with another accomplice. But the fact of the matter is after that quote from Shane basically saying there's no way she could have done this alone, basically also indicating what I've been saying and what Danielle's been saying is that she's no criminal mastermind here. You know, she seems like a very like a weak-hearted person, and he believes that somebody had to talk her into it. He's quoted in saying somebody talked her into it. Why would he think that somebody talked her into it? And why would he use those words specifically? That also indicates to me that these are things based on questions that law enforcement has probably been asking him in order to get to the bottom and get some answers. So I'm pretty much convinced at this point that there's definitely somebody else involved in this crime. Somebody who orchestrated it, and somebody who put the pressure on, somebody who was just simply more organized than Megan. Because Megan doesn't come off to me as anybody who's organized at all, not even in the slightest bit. I mean, if you look at the way she handled everything, I mean, you're looking at somebody who's just extremely just all over the place in her mind. So, yeah. I mean, sorry, I'm going live with this, guys, just as soon as I got a hold of this information. As soon as I saw that Shane had done an interview with Good Morning America. And I wanted to share this with you guys as quickly as possible because I've been promising you guys that I was going to let you know everything that I know as soon as I know it, which is why I'm doing this at 10:20 in the morning. But absolutely, I'm at this point probably safe to say I'm 99% convinced that Megan did not work alone. And that right now, police are either have someone as a person of interest, or they are at least have somebody as a person of interest and are collecting evidence and building a case against this person. And what I'm really hoping for. What I'm really hoping for is that they don't end up cutting Megan a deal of any kind, because I don't want to see her get off with anything. Because the fact that she's been charged with kidnapping and tampering with a corpse, that's not a murder charge. And neither one of those things are punishable by capital death. That these aren't capital crimes. They're not punishable by death. So I'm really concerned with how this is going to play out, because I don't want to see something happen where she gets a deal in order to testify against somebody else. But the way it's looking so far, it's looking like that may be the case. But we don't know anything yet. We still don't know. We don't have anything but that affidavit. And as I stated before, that affidavit is a very, very, very small part of this investigation. It's a very, very small piece of evidence that's going to be used in a trial if it does go to trial. So we've got to be very, very careful here when it comes to that. We've got to be very, very careful to not jump to any conclusions. But at this point, I'm going to go out on a limb and go ahead and say that I am pretty convinced that there was a second person involved in this crime. I mean, for Shane Carey to be that convinced of it is enough for me. And between Shane Carey being convinced of it, and between the fact that Margot has not been charged with murder, and that there's no second person in custody yet. I think that they're just building a case against someone right now. That's, experience tells us this. And I will be, I'm going to be staying on top of this with you guys. And I'm going to be making sure that I'm going to get with Danielle. I haven't even talked to Danielle yet this morning from Real Massacre Talk. But be sure that... rest assured that as soon as I do know more, and as soon as she knows more, we're going to come and get on here, and we're going to tell you everything that we know, and keep coming with the information as it comes to us. But I'm going to go ahead and look over the chat here real quick, guys. Yeah, Nat Scat, I totally agree. Yeah, she sounds weak-minded and scattered, absolutely. Right. Danette Costa, yeah, you're saying it was just enough to throw her in jail. Right. I think it's definitely enough to hold her and squeeze her. And I think that's what they're doing right now. I think they just wanted to have her in custody with anything that they could get her on. But it's real important. We have to understand how the law works, guys. And it's real important to understand that it takes time to build a case, because they are what the ultimate goal here, the grand scheme of things, the end game is to get a solid conviction. Justice has to be served, but justice has to be served correctly. It has to be done properly. Due process has to take its place here. So we have to trust law enforcement, and we have to trust the court systems to do their jobs. And right, Vamplifier, I think you're right. I think that in the sense that you're saying not enough evidence to charge her with murder yet, I think you're right about that. I just think they don't have enough evidence just yet, possibly. Or someone else did it, or she's claiming that someone else did it. Because we got to take into consideration that when you have someone in custody like this, and there's an open investigation, there's an ongoing investigation, they are interrogating the hell out of her. I guarantee it. Now, I know that she has attorneys, but she has to be speaking with law enforcement to a certain degree. I mean, under the counsel of her attorneys, I'm sure that's happening, on a limited basis. but I'm sure that if there is a second person involved, her attorneys are advising her to give whatever information needed that is going to help her get protected in any way needed, and she comes out of this as unscathed as possible. So who knows what kind of wheelings and dealings are going on between the defense and the prosecution? We don't know anything. Yeah. See, I don't see Vamplifier. You're right about that. It could be that they believe Megan's the murderer, but don't have enough evidence to hand over the DA. But I believe at this point that there's definitely a second person involved in this case, and they're trying to figure out who it is. Because if there is a second person involved in the case, it could be that they have Megan red-handed with the body of Heidi festering in her trunk, and in possession of Margot. So that's enough to hold her, but there's probably no evidence that she actually committed the murder, and it could be that she's trying to throw somebody else under the bus and say, hey, I didn't do it, this person did, but there's absolutely no evidence against this person to hold them just yet. So that's what I'm thinking is going on, possibly. That's what makes the most sense to me right now, anyway. No, Tracy L. See, that's the thing. You're saying you would think a body in the trunk, in a missing baby in a living room, and you picked her up, that would be enough, right? I get what you're saying, but the way that I just explained it, it doesn't necessarily have to be enough. She could be claiming somebody else did it. She could just be claiming that she took part, but that's not enough to charge somebody with murder. She could be saying that somebody else committed the murder. She could be saying that person did it, and yet they don't have, and that person could just be denying everything, head to toe, and they could just be saying there's no way. That person's crazy. Look at her. She's on crack. She's got a comb over. Anything. Who knows? You know, they're probably just. I mean, I'm making jokes here, but the fact of the matter is, you know, we don't know what's going on here. But I guarantee you that if law enforcement had enough evidence to charge her with murder at this point, they would have done it. And I'm just not seeing that happening yet. We're not seeing that happen yet. And right, Megan's weak. She would have squeaked already. You're saying Vamplifier. Right. I agree with you. I think that that's what's going on. I think what's going on so far, probably. I mean, if I'm trying to make sense of this in my head with the very little that we know, because I want to be very clear about that. We don't know anything. I'm just theorizing here. I'm just speculating right now. But in speculation, I think based on experience, what's going on here, and based on following cases like this in the past, it sounds to me like she's trying to throw somebody under the bus, and they believe her, but they just don't have any evidence to support it yet. And they're doing everything they can right now to get anything to at least get an arrest so that they can convict. So I'm thinking that's the case. I think somebody else did the kill, or at least somebody else was the mastermind behind it. Because if there was somebody else involved, I can pretty much guarantee that we're going to see a conspiracy to commit murder charge coming up. So this is going to be interesting when that happens. Yeah, I'm thinking there's going to definitely be a conspiracy to commit murder charge coming to us soon. So we'll see. But there's definitely going to be a first degree murder charge coming up, I'm thinking, along with that. So the question is, who's going to get charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder, and who's going to get charged with just conspiracy to commit murder, along with the kidnapping? Because, you know, if somebody else was driving that car, there's going to be another kidnapping charge there. Right. And we still don't know what's going on with the cousin that she went to the beach with, but that just sounds like a lame story. I mean, we don't know if I mean, that could just be something made up, I went to the beach with my cousin. Could be nobody. That cousin could be nobody. We don't even know if that cousin exists. Let's see, Rosemary Williams, you're saying, I can't help but wonder the end result of Heidi in the trunk for an extended time. What was Megan's intention, if any, to dispose of the body? I mean, well, obviously Megan's intention, if any, to dispose of the body was to get rid of the evidence, but she failed to do so. So that's, I don't know. Right. Yeah. Amplifier, that's what I'm saying too. Let's see, Tracy L, you're saying, well, I think she had her in front passenger seat, said, hang on, I need something in the back seat, and choked her to death with a rope. No. I mean, well, the eyewitness, there's nothing to indicate that that's what happened, Tracy L. The eyewitness that was questioned in the affidavit states very clearly that Megan got into the front passenger seat and that Heidi and Margot got into the back side, the passenger side back seat. So if we're going by that at all, that didn't happen. Right. I mean, yeah, of course she was in a rush. I mean, if I'm kidnapping somebody, I'm trying to get the hell out of that situation without any witnesses. But I mean, that was a sloppy job because you've got not only a witness, but you've also got security camera footage from somebody who happened to have a security camera on their door or in their doorway. So I mean, this is a huge clusterfuck right here. This is just crazy. But I mean, it's not that crazy because what happens, I mean, look at the past cases that we're looking at, and we're always wondering, like, what's taking so long? What's taking so long? I mean, it takes time to build a case, guys. It takes time to build a case, and we have to be patient and if you want something done right, you don't want to rush it. There's nothing that says that law enforcement owes us anything necessarily other than justice. But in order for them to provide that justice, what's up, Starset? In order for them to provide us with that justice and provide the family with that justice, they have to do it correctly, and that takes time. It's a chess game. It's not checkers, So they have to build a case that they can use in a court of law in order to reach a conviction. So we have to be very, 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 very careful with this stuff. And we have to keep that stuff into consideration. So we have to be patient and let law enforcement do their job. All this channel is right now, and all I'm doing, this isn't what the channel's necessarily for, but all I'm doing with this channel right now, talking about this case, is we're just trying to we're just discussing things and trying to get an idea of where law enforcement is, using our common sense and speculating based on the facts that we do have. And the truth is we don't have a lot of facts just yet. So we have to be very careful. And if you notice, I'm not throwing out any names, and I've done that already. We already know there's people that we think, we've gone over as far as people who seem like they could be people of interest as far as law enforcement goes. And we kind of speculated as to the reasons why, and stated as to reasons why they might be interested in them, but we have no idea who they're interested in right now. So we have to be very, very careful with that too. We don't want to go throwing out crazy accusations, because it's not fair to anybody else, just like it wasn't fair to Shane Carey to make those accusations about him prior and make these quick judgments about him. And then look how that turned out. This man turned out to be completely innocent and completely off the police's radar. And he's completely in the dark about it. And even if there was any question at this point whether or not he was still involved, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say, as he's, why would he sit here and say, hey, there's gotta be a second person involved? They've already got somebody in custody. If he was involved in any way, I'd feel like that his attitude would be, well, they got the person. It's just a question of as long as it takes him to convict him. I don't know why they haven't charged her with murder yet, but they've got the person in custody. I don't know what's taking them so long. That would be his attitude, I would think. But I don't think that he, this is a man who seems to want justice for his family without a doubt. And he's dead set and convinced. I mean, he's in those quotes, he sounds pretty adamant about the idea that Megan did not work alone in this. So, this is a person who's known this woman. And for all we know, he might know who it is. He might have an idea of who it is, but because there's nothing to support it yet, and the police don't have anything yet, they probably instructed him not to say anything. So chances are, if it was somebody this close to Megan, there's probably somebody just as close to him as Megan was that worked alongside with her. There's a good chance of that. I mean, I don't know, but there's a good chance of that. I mean, if Megan was as close as they were, and she was capable of doing something like this, it's not crazy to think that somebody else who was close to Megan, what was close to Shane and Heidi, was capable of acting with Megan and trying to pull this off. That's interesting, Janae Gibson. I did not know that. You're saying in Texas, if they can prove aggravated kidnapping, they can get the same sentence as murder. So that's interesting. And that's probably what's stalling this whole thing, because they probably somehow want Megan's testimony against this other culprit. But they're trying to probably work out a deal, and I'm pretty sure that law enforcement and the well, it's not up to law enforcement, it's up to the DA. But I'm pretty sure that the DA is probably not budging and saying we're not cutting this woman any deals, and her attorneys are probably saying we'll give you testimony against this person, and get them put away if you drop the aggravated kidnapping charge and bring it down so that she doesn't get a capital sentence. So who knows what's going on here? I mean, again, I'm just speculating here as to what's going on with the law enforcement and the DA, but that could be anything. Yeah, Vamplifier, that's a big mystery, man. That's on everybody's mind right now is why did she have her in the trunk for as long as she did? What's the rationale behind that? What were the circumstances behind that? Did she get rid of it? Because of the looking for bodies when she Googled bodies found in Austin or in Texas? Did she did they bury her as soon as they killed her and then figured out it was kind of like a hot spot and not a safe place and got paranoid and dug her back up and then, kept her in the trunk until they could find a better spot? Who knows? I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just, again, just kind of speculating based on what we know. Right, Vamplifier. Yeah, I agree with you. No deal. I think that there's enough people on this, and the right people on this, that can get the evidence needed to get justice served, and make sure that both people that are involved in this crime end up getting what they deserve, getting justice. So. Yeah, Janae Gibson, I believe you. I mean, Texas, Texas doesn't fuck around, man. So I don't doubt it. Yeah, I mean, this guy, this Rosemarie, I totally agree with you. You're saying I can't fathom how Shane must feel in his heart daily. How does he does have a part of Heidi that lives on with their two children, right? And that's got to make it so hard. I mean, this guy, the last thing that he ever expected was to have to raise these two children without Heidi. I mean, he has to adjust everything. In order to do this successfully. He has to adjust his heart. He has to adjust his mind. He has to adjust his probably his career. His whole life has turned completely upside down now, and he's got to stay strong for these kids. Soul Sister, baby. Yeah, I mean, these people are amateurs. Starset, man, you're saying I don't see a deal. This was horrific. Yeah, it was horrific, but we don't know. We still don't know. I mean, we've seen this stuff happen before. Whenever there's more than one person involved, somebody rolls over on the other. Especially when it comes to amateurs like this. Somebody rolls over on the other. But hopefully the DA's just not having that shit. Well, see, Danette Costa, that's what I'm talking about. You're saying if there's a second person, her defense lawyer needs to give her a talk and say it's your only hope is to give that person up. But see, that's the problem, is I don't think the DA wants to give her the deal in order to give that person up, because her lawyers are probably saying, we'll give you this person and we'll testify in an open court to put this person away, but you got to take capital punishment off the table here. If that's true about aggravated kidnapping being a capital crime in Texas. Yeah, and Danette Costa, that's also a good point. You're saying I'm not convinced those Google searches weren't to make her look like she was helping trying to find Heidi for cops. It's backfiring, but that could be why she put in certain searches. You're right. She was probably doing that to look like she was being helpful. That's a possibility too. I'm not gonna debunk that. But what's up, Mignon? Well, Vamplifier, she planned this for at least 9 months. she, that's the crazy part. She just didn't plan it very well, or else she'd have gotten away with it. This is an irrational person that we're talking about. Well, I mean, Missy Cat, yeah, we've seen these things happen. You're saying that they'll trace the black duffel bag and that will tell a lot. It might or it might not. Who knows? It might or it might not. It could lead to nothing. Could be a black duffel bag that she had in her closet for 20 years. Who knows? So, but yeah, I mean, it's quoted. I'm gonna go ahead and read that one more time. I'm gonna read that quote one more time from Shane Carey. As soon as I can find it. Yeah, he says, I don't. He says, I want to look at her straight in the eyes and ask her why. That's all I want to say. There's no reason for any of this. I believe somebody talked her into it. I mean, from knowing Megan, I would never imagine it. I don't know what happened. Heidi is way stronger than Megan. There has to be a second person. There's no way Megan was by herself. So this is not somebody sitting there speculating. This is the father of the baby that was kidnapped. This is the father of his child that was kidnapped, the 3-week-old baby, and his fiance, the mother of this child, was murdered, and he is absolutely adamantly convinced that somebody else was working with Megan because he knows Megan, and knowing Megan on a personal level, and probably spent a lot of time around her during these 9 months, because you got to remember, the whole thing is Megan had this whole thing going on with Heidi, where they were going to be, pregnant buddies. They were going to have their baby. They got pregnant at the same time, and they were going to have their baby together. That's what they were going to do. That was the whole point. Megan was literally in the delivery room. Megan was in the delivery room with Heidi. There were 3 people with Heidi in that delivery room. That is Shane, the father of Margot. That's Shane. That's Megan. And that third person was Caressa's mother. Caressa Nolte. And we all know, we all know that she's, I don't know what's going on with that girl. She's been saying some, she's been, her character's a little shady as far as I'm concerned. But I do know that she was on a YouTube podcast or on a YouTube live stream, and the entire time her focus was convincing everybody that Shane was capable of this crime. And this went on for hours. And you know, and a lot of people have been coming out saying that the things that she was saying on that live stream were straight lies. So, what's the motive there? What was she hoping to accomplish by going on there and lying? But you know, being a liar doesn't necessarily, I want to be very clear about that. Being a liar is very different than being a murderer. So I'm not trying to imply that she is the second person involved in this crime. But there's too many coincidences that are bugging me. So she's not off my radar as far as people that are bugging me as far as their behavior goes. You know, Chris Green's behavior kind of bugs me too. Why didn't he know that there was a body in the trunk, backed into close to the garage? You're going to tell me that this guy didn't go into his garage from time to time and smell something awful? It doesn't make sense to me. You're going to tell me this person was not on to the fact that this woman was never pregnant and living in his house for 9 months? There's reasons. I speculated these reasons with Danielle, but we don't know. We just don't know. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. And then you got the other guy, you got this Chris Hertz, who supposedly had a weird obsession with Heidi, and and his behavior is just plain weird. So we don't know anything. We don't. Could be nobody mentioned. Could be nobody that we know about. Could be could be Megan's cousin, that she brought up. Could be some random person that Megan met, and that nobody knows about, hanging out. I mean, Megan looks to me like she's on drugs and she's got a drug problem. Could be somebody involved with her in the in that gross world of drug addiction and drug deals. Could be anything. Who is the woman who is stating Shane was involved before Megan was found? Well, there were two people who were saying that Shane was involved before Megan was found. And that was Megan and that was Caressa. That was Megan when she spoke to Tim Miller from EquaSearch, and which is a private agency that was assisting in the search for Heidi. So there was Megan that said that to Tim Miller directly, and then there was Caressa who is saying it basically all over that YouTube live stream. I mean, Rosemary Williams, that's a possibility, but saying that maybe Green has a sinus problem and doesn't smell very well sounds like some bullshit excuse that he would give a jury when he's sitting on the stand. What's up, Doodlebug? Well, see, Deborah Barron, we don't know what Ellie thinks or what Ellie knows. We don't know yet. This is just... I'm just talking about this because Shane Carey recently did an interview on Good Morning America, and on his interview with Good Morning America, he was adamant about saying that he was adamantly convinced that there was a second person helping Megan and involved. So this is just coming out of Shane Carey's mouth. But to answer your question again, we don't know what LE knows, what law enforcement knows. We don't know what law enforcement knows or doesn't know, or who they're looking at. We don't know any of that stuff. But based on what Shane Carey said, him being that convinced, I'm wondering if questions that they asked him led him to believe that there was somebody involved, and that law enforcement believes that there's somebody else involved. Let's see, Nat Scott, you're saying, I agree those people seem shady, but you're right. Doesn't mean they are involved. I was just going to say that Chris Guy also has behaved shady. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you were typing that as I was just about to mention Chris Hertz. Yeah, there's some questionable people here. But again, guys, we have to be real careful. We have to be real careful when it comes to throwing accusations out. Now, I realize nobody in the chat's doing that right now. I just want to be clear. I think it would be irresponsible of me to come on this channel and not say that, because we all know what happened with Shane. We all know how many people all over Facebook groups, and how many YouTube listeners and comments, and how many YouTube creators all basically just made it out that Shane Carey was the person behind this. And everyone assumed that both Heidi and Margot were dead before knowing anything. So we have to be real careful about stuff like that, because I'm also a person who believes in the power of hope. And when you make assumptions like that, you take hope away, and you affect people who are truly affected by this crime. You're affecting their ability to hope. And I think we have a responsibility, a moral responsibility, to help these people who are suffering, who are likely victims. We have a responsibility to help them hope, to give them strength, let them know that we've got their back. But, just because, even if they turn out to be guilty, we can't just assume that they are before we know anything. We have to assume them to be, we have to be good-hearted people. We have to have faith in humanity still, and be good-hearted people, in my opinion, to, by simply, assuming the best of people before we assume the worst. You understand what I'm saying? We can't just go around throwing crazy accusations at people just because a case in the past turned out to be so disappointing to us. We became so disappointed in humanity in the past because of past cases. We can't let that happen. Because then we're tainted. We're affected. We're all of a sudden we're negative people. We're shitty people who think the worst. And it's not. I think we're better than that still. But we have to behave like we're better than that. We have to set that example for each other to be better than that. I think that's really, really important, guys. So we can't just go throwing crazy accusations at people when, for all we know, they could be suffering victims. For all we know, I'm sitting here and I'm saying I don't like Caressa. You know, based on the fact that she threw all those lies out there, who knows? Maybe that was just her way of grieving, for all we know. Maybe that was just her way of dealing with the stress of her friend missing. Who knows? You know? But at the same time, you know, I'm hard on her because she did sit up there and lie. And she did sit up there and perpetuate the cycle of people that were already throwing this man whose family was missing and he's suffering. She was perpetuating that cycle. She was adding to that. And so I don't think that that's okay. So I'm going to call her out on it. But that doesn't mean that she was involved in a murder and a kidnapping. That's not what that means. You know? Because what's going to happen is, you know, we start throwing accusations at people, and then we're going to feel like shit for doing so when it turns out that they had nothing to do with anything. As far as Caressa goes, the only thing that I'm sitting here criticizing her for is being dishonest and just plain being shitty. You know, I mean, she's an adult. I get that may be her way of grieving, but that doesn't make it okay to make a father and a fiance feel, you know, make them look and smear their name and make them look like they could be a murderer. That's not right. So I stand by what I've said about her, but I'm in no way accusing her of anything. I'm in no way accusing anybody of anything. But we have to be very, very careful. Yes, Jordan, she used extremely poor judgment. You're absolutely right. A lot of people did. A lot of people did. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're a lot. Yeah. I wish I didn't have to agree with you so wholeheartedly, Starset One. You're right. You're saying what Caressa did would have been awful for Shane. Thankfully, they found Heidi and who did this. You're absolutely right. If that hadn't happened, I mean, who knows what this man would be going through this day. To this day, who knows what this man would be going through. And a lot of it would have had to do with what Caressa did on a live YouTube stream, you know, on a channel that had thousands of creators or thousands of subscribers. I mean, it's disturbing. It's a disturbing thought. See, Soul Sister, I disagree. I don't think she was honestly expressing her feelings about Shane or Heidi or Megan. She was saying things about Shane that were absolutely untrue. And as a matter of fact, I will agree with you that she was expressing her feelings. I honestly expressing her feelings about Heidi and Megan because she didn't show any concern for Heidi. She showed no concern during that entire live stream. She didn't seem to show any concern for Heidi. She showed concern for her boyfriend who was being accused of things because he accidentally made chloroform and posted it on Facebook. And she seemed concerned for how she was feeling and how much this was making her suffer. But she was in no way showing any sympathy for anyone else. Or empathy for anyone else. So to me, I agree with you in the sense that speaks volumes. Yes, I think she was honestly expressing her feelings. She was very transparent, in my opinion. Yeah, if Megan wanted attention, she sure got it. Yeah, see, Jordan, it's funny that you say that because you're saying she followed Megan's lead. Well, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm guessing you're talking about Heidi now that I think about it. But see, according to Shane, that wasn't the case. According to Shane, Heidi was the stronger one. The more she was the more dominant one, less influenced, not easily influenced by Megan at all. Yeah, soul sister, you're saying remind me to never trash my friend's spouses. Never ends well. Sure doesn't. It sure doesn't. I mean, and that's always bitter, man. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing is if there was anything to indicate that what she was saying was true, then that's one thing. But nobody ever came forward. The only people that ever came forward were people supporting Shane and saying that those were lies that she was saying on there. You know, and then you got this weirdo Chris Hurst, I think it was him, that comes forward and saying some crazy story about Shane raping her in her sleep or some shit like that. I don't, yeah, these are crazy things that come out when these cases happen, and people don't seem to care that these are real people involved. Their lives are being affected. Mindcrime, you're saying Megan did all this. Well, see, there's what we know so far, it doesn't look that way, Mindcrime. It doesn't look that way. From what we see and know so far, according to the eyewitness who saw Megan get into the passenger side seat and the car driving off, that right there indicates that there was somebody driving that car. And according to Shane's interview with Good Morning America recently, he's saying that he's adamantly convinced that somebody else was involved, that Megan didn't have the brains or the willpower to go through with this by herself. And he knew her personally. So I'm going to go ahead and trust this man's instincts here. For now, I mean, if we're gonna listen to anybody right now involving that was personally involved with these victims, I'm gonna go with the father of this child and the fiance of the victim. But yes, Megan's absolutely. I believe that Megan is absolutely guilty of what she's being charged with, for sure. So she's definitely directly involved in this. I don't think there's any doubt about that from anyone. Missy Cat, that's what's making sense to me too. I talked about when I went live, when we read and talked about the affidavit, Danielle and I on this channel, we did discuss, we did speculate as to how it possibly could have taken place, how the actual murder could have taken place. And what made the most sense to me, the scenario that I keep coming up with, and again, this is just speculation based on the things that we know, could be anything. But the only thing that makes sense to me, because according to the eyewitness, and the rumor of the person who caught who caught it all on video camera footage, on security camera footage, the account is that someone was driving and Megan got into the passenger seat, and Heidi holding Margot, got into the passenger side back seat. And if that's what happened, I'm having a hard time seeing them being murdered in the back seat. I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing the logistics behind Megan doing one of these and trying to, over a seat. You know what I'm saying? I'm having a hard time seeing the logistics in that. But I could see her possibly manipulating Heidi and saying, hey, depending on the circumstances of where they were going and how she even convinced her to be able to drive out of the complex willingly or even get into the car willingly. Who knows? Anything. Who knows? But I'm wondering if possibly Megan somehow manipulated Heidi into letting her hold Margot, and then once she had Margot, said, I'm gonna hurt Margot if you don't do what we say. And it's possible that they, like somebody here in the chat said, they possibly could have pulled over and did whatever they were doing, but while holding Margot as insurance that Heidi didn't put up a fight, and they possibly drugged her or subdued her in some chemical way, and then strangled her to death. But I mean, again, that's just speculation. It bothers me to even think about these things. Wow, you guys are on the West Coast, Vamplifier? You guys are up early, man. Well, I mean, I guess it's only like 8 a.m. over there. That's a possibility, too, Jordalyn. You're saying you think that Megan told Heidi that Shane or Silas was hurt. That's a classic way to we've heard that a lot as far as kidnappers taking kids and manipulating kids to get into vehicles. But the thing is what bothers me about that theory is that Heidi's a grown woman and she seems to be smart and she seemed to have a strong sense of common sense, and you know what I'm saying? Like, why would Megan know about that before Heidi did? Why would somebody call Megan and not call Heidi if Silas or Shane were hurt? Megan wouldn't know about it first. There would be no reason why Megan would know about that first. So that theory, I get what you're saying, but it doesn't sit well with me exactly. But I get what you're saying. It's not too illogical, not at all. Well, Starset, that's also interesting. You're saying there was no car seat. I think they just went into the car for a coffee or talk. They flew off, and maybe the child locks were on, and she couldn't get out. I agree with you about the child locks, but the thing is Shane seems to be adamant about Heidi just being very, very, very protective of Margot and Silas, in the sense that she would have never gotten in the car willingly without a car seat and without protecting Margot and ensuring Margot's safety in some way. So that's where we get stuck. The big question is, how did she get into the car willingly that way? You know, going down the street to get coffee, I don't know about all that, man. You know, That's thin, man. That's Yeah, Missy Cat, I agree with you. You're saying Megan has been sitting in that cell all alone and she will be willing to spill her guts. I think for sure she strikes me as a wormy motherfucker, man. And I think that she would roll over on whoever the fuck she can to get her ass out of a sling as quickly as possible. I totally agree with you. The question is, what's going on? What's happening? Oh, hey, what's up, Amy? Amy's in the house. Yeah. So I'm having a lot of trouble with that. Hey, what's up, Bobby? Once Upon a Crime in the house, guys. If you haven't subscribed to Once Upon a Crime, go ahead and do that. She's great. She's got a great channel. I enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. Well, Bobby, I'll go ahead and run it down one more time. So, Shane did an interview with Good Morning America, and in his interview with Good Morning America, he was he seemed very adamant with the idea that that there was definitely a second person involved. He doesn't see that Heidi or that Megan could have possibly done this by herself. So right now we're just kind of speculating on the possibilities with that. So we're all just kind of tossing around some ideas here. And oh, thanks, Bobby. I appreciate that. Yeah, we don't really know what's going on. But I'm convinced, man, that if Shane is convinced, it leads me to believe that he's coming to that conclusion probably based on questions that law enforcement has been asking him. So, yeah, Amy, I was just telling them, yeah, it's just a snippet and it bothers me. I'm going to go ahead and play it one more time for everybody who just tuned in. So there's commercials. There's a commercial first, so I'm gonna wait for the commercial. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this one more time for you guys for everybody who's just now getting on.
Now for our exclusive interview with the fiancé of Heidi Broussard, the young mom whose newborn daughter was stolen from her before she was murdered last month. The little girl has now been reunited with her dad, who spoke with Carey in Austin, Texas.
You are so beautiful. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
This morning, we're hearing from Heidi Broussard's fiance for the first time since he was reunited with their infant daughter, Margot.
I just wish her mom was here.
Shane Carey faced the unimaginable. On December 12th, his fiancée Heidi Broussard disappeared just 2 weeks after giving birth. Also missing, their newborn. He pleaded for their return.
Drop her off anywhere. I don't care. Just make sure she's safe and okay. The baby's okay. Feed the baby. She's only 3 weeks old.
After a week combing through clues, authorities found the 33-year-old mother dead, strangled to death in the trunk of this car. In a shocking twist, the car belonged to one of Broussard's best friends, Megan Firamuska. The baby found inside her home, unharmed.
Heidi loved Megan. I mean, like, they had a great relationship. Like, I went over in my head about 1,000 times. Like, I should have been there. I should have noticed something.
Firamuska was present when Heidi gave birth to both of her children and even took part in the search for the missing mom. Their decades-long friendship, undeniable.
she was a friend, you know? Like, you would not suspect this at all. Like, at all.
But police say Firamuska deceived them by allegedly faking her own pregnancy.
And how soon after you guys found out Heidi was pregnant, do you remember hearing that Megan was pregnant too?
Oh, I think it was like pretty much at the same time Megan said that she had the same date as Heidi.
You never questioned it.
I never questioned it at all.
The 33-year-old was arrested December 20th and charged with kidnapping and tampering with evidence. Police say Firamuska plotted to steal the baby and pass it off as her own. But one big question looms.
Why? Why?
The now 6-week-old baby a community once searched for relentlessly, finally back in the arms of her father.
Hey, sweetie.
Megan Firamuska is in jail here in Austin. She's due for her first court appearance next month. In the meantime, Shane tells us they're working to establish a foundation in Heidi's honor to support children and families who've suffered traumatic events. Guys.
Boy, such a traumatic event. So tragic.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, I want to address this comment here. This is the kind of bullshit I'm talking about. So, if I can even find it, but let's see. Yeah, so Tweety Bird 2020. You're saying J is for Justice stated per source Megan is calling her mom saying it's all a mistake and they will give the baby back after she gets out of jail. How does that even make any sense? She doesn't I mean, so yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying. So what this implies is that Megan is still trying to convince her mother that the baby is hers and that it's all a misunderstanding. And once she gets out of jail, then the baby's going to be back in her arms and blah blah blah. Well, that also that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, a lot of these people, when they commit crimes like this, they're pretty delusional, and a lot of the times what they do is they convince themselves, and justify their actions in their mind, and they're just going to stick to their lies, for as long as they can. Now, the question is, does her mom believe her? But none of that shit matters. We all know it's bullshit. We all know that Heidi was found dead. Margot turned down. I mean, they had to have given Margot a DNA test to identify her. And they sure as shit wouldn't put her back in the custody of her father unless they did. So, to even, that's totally irrelevant. That doesn't even matter. So besides the fact that it's just hearsay, it's even if it were true, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and let's see, Amy, you're saying at Starset when he was originally interviewed, he told them he always looks down when he talks. See again here. That's all. I do that too. I get distracted. I have to force myself to make eye contact. I do that too, man. Yeah, and also you can't see it, because this is part of an article, and when I share this on OBS, I have to hit play, and there's no way for me to hit play. It has to automatically play for it to play here, and I can share it through OBS. But and it could just be because I'm an idiot and I don't know how to work a computer. But the fact of the matter is when you're looking at this interview and you're watching Shane Carey speak, he's crying, but he's smiling. When he's going, I had no idea. He's sitting there smiling. Does that mean that he's happy about what's going on? No, of course not. He's speaking about how in disbelief he is. I do that. I'll sit there and shake my head and laugh when I'm looking at something so fucking unbelievable. I'm like, and I'm trying to make sense of it in my head, no matter how traumatic it could be to me. That's just the way I react. And everybody looked at this shit and thought they could pick this guy apart right off the bat without knowing the guy and look at one fucking interview and then have the guy all summed up as a fucking murderer and a kidnapper of his own family. So shame on anybody who did that. Shame on all of you who did that. Yeah, Amplifier, that's a good point. Let's talk about that for just a second. You say, I loathe the fact that cams are everywhere now, huge loss of privacy, but I guess it helps to make things safer. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if these cams, let's address that for real quick. If these cams are out in public, if these cameras are out in public, then, it's not really an invasion of privacy because you're out in public. Anybody can see you, It's no different than somebody else's eyes that are out in public and seeing you. So is it really an invasion of privacy? So I like the fact that there are cameras out there, that help us feel a little bit safer. But at the same time, if you're a criminal, it's definitely not your friend. It's definitely not your friend. So, but I'm the kind of guy that when I'm out walking around, if I'm out walking around and doing my own thing, I'm headed to work or I'm going home from work or I'm going to the gym or whatever I'm doing, I don't really give a shit if anybody's filming me doing it. I'm not doing anything wrong. So I'm not real worried about it. So I don't really see it as an invasion of privacy unless you want privacy in committing a crime, But if you're out cheating on your wife, then no, you can't use those cameras, those public cameras to for personal use. That's not what those things are for. So no, it's not an invasion of privacy in any way. I don't think so. I'm camera shy. Yeah. I used to be. I still kind of am, to be honest. That's why I don't make eye contact much when I. So yeah, I'm camera shy too. But let's see. Yep, I have cameras in my neighbors. I like knowing I have our 6 houses covered outside. Fuck yeah. I like the idea of having those cameras. You got cameras. I like the idea of somebody's house getting broken into, or God forbid, a crime like this taking place, one of your neighbor's house. You could say, hey, I got a security camera, officers. If you need to look at the footage, you're more than welcome to look at that footage. I like the idea of being able to help out with that type of situation if I can. Let's see. Star said, Amy, I believe you, and just having everyone in his face had to make him have a hard time. I didn't think he was guilty. I felt we needed to wait. Stealing a mom and a newborn felt like a woman. Well, I'm gonna admit I didn't feel that way necessarily. I didn't assume that it was a woman, and I didn't have the feeling that it was a woman. But I damn sure didn't. I damn sure wasn't quick to think that it was the father. And I realized. Let's see, mulberryfication. How do I know Caressa lied? Often one's closest friends know things others don't. Maybe Heidi didn't want her parents to know problems in a relationship. You're right. I don't know for a fact that Caressa lied, but experience tells us that she did, because she's the only one. Her and Megan are the only two people that came out and made this man out to be abusive. So everyone else who comes out did nothing but speak on this man's favor and speak on this man's character in a positive way. And on top of that, Caressa also has, Caressa's boyfriend, let's not forget this, there's little things that are kind of weird. Why is the baby's name that Megan gave Margot when she kidnapped Margot? Why was the name Luna given to her when that is also a known alias for Caressa's boyfriend? That doesn't strike anybody else as odd? Cliff Luna? That doesn't strike anybody else as odd? Because it strikes me odd. That doesn't sit well with me. Could mean anything. Could be just a pure coincidence. But it bothers me. So yeah, I think Caressa lied. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I think Caressa's a liar. Yeah. It's a popular name. Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. It's a popular name. Luna. Yeah, exactly. Everyone in the chat is going, that's odd. That's because it is fucking odd. That's random as fuck. You can tell me that's just a coincidence? It could be, but I doubt it. I fucking doubt it. Send a shout out to Brian. Who's Brian? Always Trisha, damn it. Always Trisha, damn it. All right, I'll send a shout out to Brian. Brian, what's up, Brian? I don't know who you are, buddy, but sending you a shout out. Finger guns. Well, I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah, it was a full moon, blah, 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 sure. But why the fuck did this guy have so many aliases? There's a whole list. You do a background check on this guy, and there's a whole list of aliases. I don't have any fucking aliases. How many people in this chat have aliases? Besides sock accounts, maybe, on YouTube. Hey, no problem, always Trisha. Damn it. I like saying your name, by the way. Yes, Luna. Yes, thank you, Jules, aka Luna means moon. Yes. Yeah, okay. Fair enough, Golden. That makes sense. Yes, you've been married 3 times, so yeah, you probably changed your name 3 times. How many dudes do that when they get married? Come on, man. Get real. I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're defending him, Golden, by the way. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like for anybody else who's going, "Oh, well, maybe he got married 3 times and changed his name 3 times." No dude fucking does that, dude. So, yeah. It's wait. Are you still Golden? Are you still defending that? Yeah, I get it's 2020, dude, but come on, man. I could see one situation. Let's be realistic here, okay? I can't believe that we're even doing this, but I could see a dude meeting a girl who's super liberal and super, very very equal women's rights and very very feminist, and saying, "Hey, why do I have to change my name? You change your name." But he married someone 3 or 4 times that had that. He's not even married to Carissa. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, no. Fucking Facebook chloroform boy fucking used aliases, dude. He used aliases. Period. That's what he did. And one of those aliases happens to be the same name that Megan gave Margot after she kidnapped her and tried to pass that baby off as her own. That is a strange coincidence. You're not going to convince me otherwise. That is a strange fucking coincidence. Or a gay male couple who gets married. Sure, Amy, but I don't think my man's gay, dude. I don't think so. You know, we're accidentally making chloroform, and we're and we're changing names. But I don't think but he's dating girls in the process, you know? Mean, shitty, lying girls. See, could Heidi possibly have made Shane look bad when they had a few fights and said some things about him not true, and Caressa believed it? That's possible. I considered that possibility, but I don't think so. Because I think that would have probably happened amongst more people. I think she probably would have told. I think she probably would have told more people that, because if she was going to make something like that up, or if she was dealing with that sort of thing, I think somebody else, at least in her immediate family, would have known it. I think somebody in Heidi's immediate family would have seen something that made them go, "We don't like Shane." You know, that's always the case. Whenever there's an abusive relationship, thanks, Pax. Whenever there's an abusive relationship, somebody in the victim's immediate family always knows that there's something wrong. Always says, "Hey, I don't like this motherfucker for some reason." That's not the case. Everybody in Heidi's family have done nothing but speak highly of Shane. So I'm not seeing that. Is Caresa's boyfriend the same person that would call Heidi sister and Heidi would call him brother? I don't know. Yes, Michelle, to answer your question and to elaborate on Amy's comment. Yes. Uh, uh, not only did Caresa's boyfriend make a Facebook post stating I accidentally made chloroform or I made chloroform by accident, and he put in parentheses something like, no, I didn't knock anybody out. But not only did he do that, but that came up into question. But nobody even heard of that yet. And Caressa, when she was on that live YouTube stream, she felt the need to defend him on it immediately. She's the one who brought it up. She's the one who made it public. So it was really weird. Instead of focusing and directing energy towards finding Heidi and Margot, she was defensive for her boyfriend and herself, and she spent that entire time trashing Shane and making him out to be an abusive spouse. That doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me at all. Yeah, it's a weird thing to post. Now, the story, in their defense, the story with the chloroform thing was he was helping a child with a science project, and then they made chloroform by accident. So who knows? Yeah, Danette Costa, yeah. Michelle, yeah, of course. Oh, wow. Thanks, Golden One. I appreciate that. It's very, very, very kind. Yeah, and off the subject, guys, I really appreciate all the positive guys you sent Mignon. Mignon's a badass, man, and she's one of my favorite people. And she's up late, man. She's probably up trying to not getting any sleep. But but I'm glad she's here. I hope she's feeling okay. I hope you're feeling all right, Mignon. But yeah, man. I appreciate everybody sending lots of love to Mignon, man, because she's awesome. And sending her love and positive vibes, man. That's you're sending them to a good place, man, because she does good things with that love and those positive vibes. That's what Mignon does, man. She's dope. Amy, you're funny. Yeah, who accidentally makes chloroform, bro? Like, oops. I don't get it, man. Yeah, like, oops. Check it out. I made chloroform. Amy Source, you're making me laugh. You're like, there. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. There's a baby on the bed. Don't be mad. Not, hey, I've been pregnant for 9 months and I had a baby. I've been living in your house and I had a baby for 9 months. Or I've been pregnant for 9 months and I had the baby. No, it was, hey, listen, before you go in there, don't be mad. Okay? Don't be mad. There's a baby on the bed. What the fuck is this lady thinking, dude? Yo. Yeah, man. This whole thing is so fucking bizarre, dude. It's so fucking bizarre, man. Lufa, you use it to get dates? Is that what you say? You say, do you make chloroform by accident to get dates, or you tell people that there's a baby on the bed to get dates? Hey, check it out. I'm a real catch. Don't get mad though. I got a baby on the bed. Oh shit. It's so funny. Oh, look at you. There's a whole chat full of women who do this to get dates. I love it. Y'all are fucked up, by the way. Something's wrong with you. Man, if it wasn't in such poor taste, that'd be a great metal band name. There's a baby on the bed. Don't get mad, I chloroformed you. And see, let's. This is just now hitting me too. What kid is doing a science project at home where they're gonna use chemical? Now I don't know how chloroform is made, but what kid is doing a science project at home? And what teacher is giving kids a science project, a homework science project, saying, listen, you're going to have to get these chemicals and I need you to make something. Be careful because you might make chloroform. Okay? But if you want to get an A, get these chemicals together. Just don't make fucking chloroform. What? It doesn't add up, man. That's bullshit to me. That's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. Fucking science project. Fuck out of my face. Science project. That's lame as hell. Kind of, who's, you know, hey mom, listen, I got a science project due. Okay, I'm gonna need to, I need to get some stuff for my science project. So, you know, I gotta get this chemical, and I gotta get this chemical, and I gotta get this chemical. And the teacher says, if I'm not careful, I might make chloroform. But I really need an A in this class. So, can we go shopping and get these chemicals? Come on, bro. Come on, dude. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I raised 2 kids. Both went through high school. I don't remember that. I don't remember that in elementary school. I remember that in middle school. I don't remember that in high school. I mean, schools aren't trying to get sued, man. You know, like, there's no way. There's no fucking way. All right, Amy Source. Amy Source is my brains, all right? For the cheap seats, of all my mods, Amy Source is my brains of my mods. So let's see what she has to say here. It is hard to make. You can make a version with 2 household cleaners, but yeah, I have kids, and they're not allowed to mix chemicals for science projects. They're in elementary school. Fair enough. What's up, Kim? Yeah, yeah. Well, Golden One. As far as I mean, I'm not I'm not a brainiac. All right, I'm not an egghead, but I'm of the understanding that ammonia mixed with bleach is lethal. That will kill you. Common knowledge to not mix ammonia and bleach when you're cleaning things, because you breathe it in, it will fucking kill you. So no. Yeah, I don't think the fear is that it might knock you out. I think the fear is that you'll die. So I don't think anybody's letting their kids sit there and mix ammonia and bleach for a fucking science project. It's not happening. Hey, Kim Craig, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Everybody say what's up to Kim Craig. First time here. Okay, so Amy Source, again, coming through with the brains. She's got the conclusion. That is mustard gas. Mustard gas, as far as I know, is fucking lethal. It will kill you. Yeah, Danette Costa, how do they even know they made chloroform? That's a great question. How do they even know? I mean, they must have looked it up. But see, how do you not know what you're doing? That doesn't even make sense. And how do you accidentally make chloroform? And why the fuck do you post that on Facebook? So many questions. Mr. Luna? So many questions, Mr. Luna. Yeah, dude, like any restaurant, technically, at least I know in the state of Georgia, and any restaurant isn't even allowed to have bleach on the premises. You get knocked off health department points for that. Just for having bleach on the premises. You're not supposed to clean with bleach there. Because of the risk of it even getting near the food. So I doubt that teachers are going, hey, listen, you guys want an A in my class? I'm going to need you guys to do one of these and make sure you get a lot of bleach. Get you some ammonia. Careful not to make mustard gas because it'll kill you. But sign this here waiver. I mean, that doesn't happen, dude. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. What's up, Soul for Music 79? It's my homegirl right there. Yeah, man, yeah, the whole thing fucking stinks, dude. The whole thing fucking stinks. The whole Caressa thing just fucking reeks, bro. So I'm not even, yeah. What was 40 years ago, Kim Craig? Let's see. It's odd. I also think with questions being asked, she was being baited. I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. I've said all I had to say about that particular side of things, but yeah, as far as I know, right now, all I want to do is I want to focus on the actual crime itself and speculate on the facts that we have. To me, that other stuff is irrelevant. And But I will say this. Regardless of whether or not Megan or Caressa was being baited with questions or not, regardless of that, she's a grown-up, responsible for her own answers. She's responsible for the shit that comes out of her mouth. She's a grown-up, I've been on that very channel, and I've been baited with questions. And I was perfectly clear saying, I'm not getting into that. I'm not going to talk about that. That's not what I'm here to talk about. Because I know that I have control over what comes out of my mouth. So I'm going to be held accountable for what comes out of my mouth. So Caressa should have done the same thing. Period. Okay, let's look at that. Amy. See, that's why Amy's my brains. All right, so chloroform, chlorine bleach mixed with common household liquids such as acetone, butanone, methylketadone, ethanol, or isopropyl alcohol can produce some chloroform. Fair enough. Now, why the fuck is anybody mixing all of these? What science project is happening where anybody is mixing all of these products together? What's the experiment here? What's happening? I don't understand. What's the experiment? What's the hopeful outcome of mixing these products together, besides making some fucking ghetto version of chloroform? That's what I want to know. So what's the end game for that, Mr. Luna? What's the end game for that? That's what I want to know. Mixing all of those household products. Why would anybody take all of those household products and mix them together? For what? What is the purpose of that? Yeah. So that's rubbing alcohol and nail polish remover with bleach. What's the science project for that? I don't get it. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So we cooking meth, or are we making chloroform? Are we Walter White, or are we kidnapping people? What's going on? That's what I want to know. I want to know what the purpose was to mix all of those household products together. What was the idea behind that? What was the goal? To make meth. I wonder. Golden One, you're saying that's meth if you add Sudafed. Sudafed. Fucking. Do they even sell Sudafed anymore? Is that even a thing? Yeah, Kim Craig, I did the same shit. I did the volcanoes, man. All I needed was baking soda and vinegar and food coloring. That's I remember that. The hardest part was making the paper mache volcano. I didn't even make one. My brother made one, and I watched him do it. And then when I got into his same grade 2 years later, I just took the fucking thing out of the garage and passed it off as my own and got like a C because I didn't mix the vinegar and the baking soda right or whatever. Well, I mean, Danette Costa, you're saying I call bullshit on this, hope the cops talk to them and the teacher. Well, even if they did, I mean, that doesn't prove anything. That's the thing, is none of this proves anything, you know? If it could prove anything, they would have had an arrest by now. So that's still assuming that they had anything to do with any of this, you know? All I know is that Caressa, in my opinion, is a piece of shit liar. But I'm not saying that's a far cry from being a murderer. That's a far cry from being an accessory to murder. So, I'm not, all I'm saying is that I'm suspicious of their actions. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they are guilty people. You know, they could just be stupid fucking people. That doesn't make you guilty of anything. You just be fucking dumb. Guilty of, victims of coincidence. It could be the case. Who knows? We don't know where the police are yet with this. Yeah, I appreciate all you guys and your opinions and your, your insight. I'm going to call it, and maybe I'll be back on late tonight. We'll see. Depends on how I'm feeling, and if I'm feeling silly, maybe I'll come on here. But anyway, I love you guys a lot, and I hope you guys have a great day. And as soon as I know more, I will be back on here with you guys, and got more stuff to discuss with Danielle, and make sure to subscribe to Real Massacre Talk. Amy, if you could drop a link for Real Massacre Talk in the chat, that would be great. Make sure to subscribe to Real Massacre Talk because Danielle covers this case, and she covers a lot of other cases too that are really, really that are really fucking crazy. So please, guys, subscribe, like, and subscribe to Danielle at Real Massacre Talk. It's a great channel, and it's real informative. There's no drama, just nothing but facts. And I'm a big fan of it, like I said. And I think you guys will like it too. So go ahead and subscribe to that if you can. Okay, guys? And hopefully, well, hold on real quick. I don't know if, I want to go ahead and give Amy a second to, there we go. Yeah, so there's the, Amy just dropped the link to that, to Real Massacre Talk. So go ahead and subscribe to that, guys, please. And so, anyways, guys, Kim Craig, you could say one thing. Go ahead. I'm listening before I go. I'm listening. You got my attention, Kim Craig. You better hurry up because I gotta pee. So I'm about to go. You got 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate you. I'm on mend. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like you are right. Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do wish you the best of luck, and I appreciate you logging on and subscribing and listening to the channel. And I will do my best. If you want to talk about that more, Kim, go ahead and email me. Go ahead and email me. And I'm bipolar. She needs to be medicated. Okay. Well, email me. Email me your story. We'll talk about it, okay? All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day, guys.